welcome back to another edition of the Anything But Everything podcast. Thank you once again for joining us. I apologize, it's been a minute since I posted an episode. Please welcome my guest, Jaime. Jaime, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me back.
First of all, before we continue any further, let me just state that whatever we discuss here, if we give a piece of advice or if we're just speaking off of experience, understand that none of us or anyone who speaks here is not a professionally trained therapist, psychologist, or shrink. However, it is very much real people going through real experiences like us, and we are willing to open up and share it. You know, it's funny. Sometimes when you talk with a friend over text or just in a conversation, sometimes we come across quotes and little motivational quote or an inspirational quote. And we were talking a few days ago, and you told me you had come across something, so I'm going to let you intro it. What are you here to discuss today?
So there's always this thing of where people or friends of ours or family members or anyone that we know that means something to us is dealing with these few things: depression or anxiety, or they're at peace with themselves because they got through that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I found this quote that really kind of takes a different approach to depression and anxiety that I kind of wanted to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
So it's a quote by Lao Tzu. If you don't know who Lao Tzu is, feel free to Google the name Lao space TZU. Famous Chinese proverb, I believe. So the quote goes: if you're depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the moment. So it resonated with me just because it's like, okay, I never really thought of where your depression can have you or where your anxiety has you or what peace brings to you. I thought in order to be at peace, you have to do everything and anything to get yourself there, or you have to just let go of things and all this stuff. But as soon as I read this, it kind of made me think about a lot about my life and just life in general for people. Maybe it is true. Maybe when we are depressed, it's because we cling on to the things of the past that make us feel this way. We hang on to these things that make us feel upset and bring us down and hold us down. And as far as the anxiety goes, or feeling anxious, it does really make you think about it. You're anxious because you want something to happen. You need something to just already take place.
Yeah.
But it's not meant to happen just yet because it is later on in life or later on in your future coming. So, and when you're at peace, you don't think about the past. You don't think about the future. You just think about the moment and what you're enjoying. So, my question to you, how did you feel when I showed you that quote?
When you texted me, I sort of had a lot of things going through my mind because there were things that I had to take care of. There were things that had just happened over the last week or so. And then when you sent me that, it was kind of like pressing the pause button on a remote control where it's
immediate.
Where it's wait a second. I read that and for a second, and I think I even texted you, I'm like, that's on point. Because that made so much sense to me. I'm like, granted, I'm not a believer of, 100% out of 100% this applies, because it might not. But it seems like 98% of the time, whatever I've been through personally in my life, I can go back to this quote and go, if I was ever depressed, I was living in the past. If I was ever dealing with a lot of anxiety, I was living in the future. And when I wasn't dealing with either one, I was in the present. So immediately to me, it's it kind of put it into perspective for me. Okay, I see it now. I get what that quote is signifying. Yeah, it just, I don't know. I kind of paused mentally, and I'm like, okay, and that's why I kind of got the urge. I'm like, we need to talk about this because this does make sense on so many different levels.
It makes you really start opening up your brain. Wait a minute, did I really feel depressed at one point because I was sad at the moment? Or am I sad because of things that have happened to me? Am I depressed because of things that have happened to me and that linger on? Or am I anxious about this promotion or this job opportunity or this thing with this person that I'm friends with? Like, is it because I want it to already happen?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, nothing's going on. Nothing bad, nothing good, nothing horrible, nothing amazing. It's just everything is right there.
Yeah.
The part of the quote, it begins literally like, if you're depressed, you're living in the past.
Yeah, depression in that sense, it's gonna hit everybody in a different way. But I mean, what's your experience? Do you feel like this applies, or it's?
I think it does, because I had quit my previous job. I was in a state of mind like, I'm free. I'm not dealing with what I dealt with for almost 10 and a half years, but yet every now and then I would think about it like, why am I still hung up on the fact that like I got yelled at, mistreated, blamed, all the bad things that can happen to you when you're at your job, by customers, by managers, by coworkers. Like, why did I still have to think of that?
Yeah.
And it made me sad. I was supposed to be an entrepreneur and be a Lyft driver at the time, and there was months where it was successful. You know, I had the drive, the energy to want to drive, but then there's days where it's like, oh well, I can do it 2 days from now. I just want to be at home in bed.
Yeah.
Or I just want to watch TV. No, I don't want to go out. Like, there'd be times where, like, while my girlfriend and friends, or like you and other friends of ours, where you guys were doing stuff, I'd be like, no, I'm okay. I'm good at home.
Yeah.
I would kind of built that same bubble. And I think because I felt comfortable, I didn't want to go out, because I thought of, oh, what if I go somewhere and I'm upset? Like, I'm not happy around people, you know?
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, maybe I needed, like, oh, I need a schedule. I need to be at this place at these hours. Like, maybe that'll get me going, like the rhythm I had with Lyft, you know? But it just made things worse, because I personally reminded myself, oh, I didn't like being here for 10 and a half years. I want to be here for another half.
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with me?
Right.
So it's like I needed to live in the past to feel something, but instead,
Comfort zone type of thing.
that, and like kind of like a whole reason of like, I need a push, but it wasn't, and that's the problem. It was the bad type of push. It's like it's like the whole thing of misery loves company.
Yeah.
Like I needed misery to feel better at one point, but at the same time, I was just making myself feel worse, because it's like I didn't leave the environment fully that I chose to leave. I found a way back, but then things got worse because I had found out they weren't going to keep me after the season. And when I tried to discuss it with like management at this location, they didn't even want to talk to me. So to me, it's like, okay, so you don't care. You're not trying to talk to me. Why am I here?
Yeah.
So I took an initiative of just walking out. I'm sure it made me look bad in their eyes. Like, they probably don't ever want to see my name on a application or anything like that. But in my mind, it's like, why am I going to continue torturing myself with the past?
Right.
You know what I mean? There's nothing there for me. There's nothing I need out of that. So I think that part of the quote is true, because when you're depressed, you think about things and you hang on to them, but they're not things of the present. They're things of the past, because it's like, oh, well, I felt this back then, but I also felt that.
Yeah.
And it just sucks.
Yeah.
Like sometimes like reminiscing about the past is good because there is good memories still there. But then if you let your brain linger towards more things, you start bringing up the bad things, especially when you're in a bubble.
Yeah.
Which makes just life more difficult.
Right.
And I didn't like it. I just was so uncomfortable with myself. I'd gained more weight. Life went in a really dark direction.
Yeah.
But I guess in that mist, like you sometimes get that urge to push yourself.
Yeah.
To like, okay, if I don't want to be miserable anymore, I gotta make a move. I'm applying to jobs. I'm gonna start working out. I'm gonna start eating better. I'm gonna do all these things in the present.
Yeah.
But yet, what you're thinking about is, if I do this, I'm gonna lose weight. If I do this, I'm gonna get a better job finally. If I do this, I'm gonna feel this type of way. You know, you're doing all these things, and you're thinking about the results. In the future.
Yeah.
And every day that you keep doing that, you start telling yourself like, wait, I'm not. Why am I starting to feel anxious? Why am I nervous? Why isn't this happening now? Why isn't this like going for me? The next part of the quote: if you're anxious, you're living in the future.
Your experience with anxiousness, anxiety, do you think?
In the future.
Yeah.
So I'm more relatable in the first part of the quote.
Okay.
The second part of it, of the anxiety, I tend to get anxiety of the future more in regards to kind of like when things are happening sometimes. So this is a good example of it. So sometimes when I'm with my girlfriend, we go to Disneyland. And Disneyland, obviously, a lot of people love going there. A lot of people feel happy, comfortable, like their inner child comes out.
Yeah.
Adulting isn't really as necessary. Like you feel like something else.
Yeah.
But I've had bad experiences at Disneyland, not because it's childish. It's like, what am I doing here? I'm a grown ass man.
Yeah.
Acting like a kid. No, I have bad experiences in regards to sometimes feeling like I'm in certain areas of the park where there's so many people, and sometimes my ears tend to wander off into other people's conversations.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, shut up, or you sound dumb.
Yeah.
Or, why are you so upset about that? Or like because I hear these other conversations, like I start thinking about like, okay, why are they annoyed by that? Why are they the way they are about that? And then what makes it worse is like I start feeling bunched up. Like there's too many people around.
Crowded.
Yeah. And then like if I have no room to move as much, I'll start panicking. Like I'll have a panic attack, but it makes me more anxious in regards to like, what if I don't get better? What if I can't find an open space? What if I can't leave the park comfortably? Or what if I'm not comfortable on this ride or enjoying my food or whatever? And it makes me feel so attacked and so nervous that like I break down. I literally walk away from my girlfriend. I'll go find somewhere where there's absolutely no one or there's very little people walking around. And I'll just sit there or I'll just stand there trying to recollect myself, like, no, come back to the present, come back to the fact that you're here,
right,
and you're trying to have fun. And that happens to me because I actually do think about like, oh, what if I didn't do this right, and if I did it this way, you know, what if like if I do this, is it gonna affect this in the future? Is it gonna make me? So the second part of my story, as far as that 1 year that we haven't had this following episode, it's middle of January towards my 33rd birthday. I'm like, why am I not getting called? Why are they not hiring me already? Like I need a job, I need money, I need to eat, I need to survive. And I told myself, because of this, I'm gonna work out more, I'm gonna take care of myself more. And the reality was I wasn't. I was actually eating a lot more. I was more thinking about like what's gonna happen, or what, like, downward spiral am I about to take? And I'll be honest, I almost weighed up to 400 pounds. I'm a big guy, by the way. I'm like 6 feet, like 300 plus pounds. That's my own vice. That's my own fault, but whatever. But at that point in January, I was very overweight. I'm still overweight, of course, but I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't trying to work out. And then eventually I do get that call. Hey, you start February 4th. Hey, you're going to be in 2 weeks training. And I'm like, all right, finally.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with that first paycheck? I didn't even think about, what am I going to do the day one? I thought about 2 weeks later when I get paid. Yeah. I thought about how much I have to sell to make commission at this other job.
So already you're thinking of the future.
And it drove me to like this feeling of like, I'm not happy. I'm upset all the time. And then all I had thought about was getting paid, making money, having a great job, fixing my finances, making my life better.
Yeah.
I didn't think about at the moment, Jaime, you're gaining a lot of weight. Jaime, you're not solving your car situation. Jaime, you're not fixing your situation of seeing your girlfriend more.
Yeah.
Like this job had consumed me.
Yeah.
Hell, for our other podcast, you guys would literally look at me sometimes like, are you okay? Or you guys would look at me as I'm talking, and I felt in the back of your heads like, dude, he's not all right. He's not happy. He's not even here.
I could tell it was a dread for you to go into work. Like, yeah. I could tell like something it was off. Like you were not happy being there.
Because at one point at this job, I was transferred to a further location. So this job at first was a 5-minute drive.
Yeah.
And a 5-minute drive back home. It is really hard to have a job where you're that close to your home.
Save gas money, mileage.
Exactly. Yeah. And to be moved almost to a different county, that messes with you.
Yeah.
And then it's like you're starting brand new again, and you're anxious because you don't want to mess up because, what if they think bad of me? What if they think this of me?
Yeah.
They're not going to like me. The team's not going to like me.
Again,
my bosses,
future.
Yeah. So all that just made me worse to a point where I think it was Easter, a few days before the 24th, Easter Sunday. That job is closed. Just like most companies are shut off for Easter.
Right.
And I was so sad. I was so depressed. I was shaking at night before Monday because I had to go back to work at 12:30 p.m. I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Every day I go and I cry on my way to work. Every day I sit in the car before I put on my shirt for work and just don't feel happy about it. Like I feel misery. But it's not the misery I felt when I was at my other job for so long.
Yeah.
It's a new misery of fear. And it's, instead of going, I called out every day. Because I was able to. But something happened that Monday. Like, I don't know what it was. That instead of thinking about everybody else, what they thought of me, or what their mindset was of me, for once I paused everything. I'm like, you know what? I'm overweight. I'm not happy. I'm miserable. My friends think I'm miserable. My girlfriend hardly sees me. I hardly see my close family. What am I doing to myself? I think I was killing myself.
Yeah.
And it all was because of the anxiety of what I was feeling.
Yeah.
Because I needed the approval of the future. Like, I needed the future to already happen.
Right, yeah.
So, I just, at that point, like, I stopped and I told myself, I need to get better for me.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I might die.
Yeah.
And that's the scariest part of everything. And so I called out that day. I started applying to every single other company I can think of. Like, oh, I need to get in now. I need to go. I can't just quit again.
Yeah.
Because I have nothing to. I didn't have as much to fall on back then. I have nothing to fall on now.
Yeah.
And the following day, I remember hanging out with you. We had lunch, we walked around, we talked about what was going on with us, why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And I had told you that same day I had gotten an interview.
Yeah.
For this current job I have, and that they're gonna hire me.
Yeah.
So the last part of it is, if you're at peace, you're living in the moment.
Honestly,
do you feel like that resonates?
I do, yes, because whether it was a few years back, whether it was a year ago, whether it's now, when you're living in the present, it's like you know, because you really don't have a lot going through your mind. And I've been at that place of zen where I'm like, okay, I'm taking it as it comes, you know, even if there's a disaster waiting for me, when it comes, we'll take it, we'll assess it, we'll process it, and we'll move forward. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of times that helps me. Like, it helps me stay present, because if I tell myself a disaster might happen, how am I going to deal with it? What am I going to do? Already in the present, I'm getting sucked into what's going to happen.
In the future.
Yeah. So I'm a firm believer that the most powerful moment is not the past, it's not the future, it's the present, because 2 out of the 3 are not happening right now. Mm-hmm. 1 out of the 3 is. And it all just depends. When the present is happening, what do you do? Do you take a step forward, or do you take a step back?
Yeah.
That's just my take. What about you? How do you feel?
So I agree with it also, that when you're living in the present, you are at peace. Because so at that point in time, when I finally made that decision, like, oh, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna go get a job, I'm gonna fix my life now, because if I don't, I'm gonna go crazy, I might die, like I said. You saw that change. I already went through my 3 months of probation. They kept me. I started being able to work a lot more than a part-time associate should. And I can say from January to today, I lost 40 pounds of weight.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I feel better. Like, I'll feel a lot better, obviously, when I'm a lot less heavier, but like
present.
Yeah. But like, I feel great, because it's like I let go of what was making me like, oh, what if they don't like me? What if I don't make money? Like, I thought about it like, look, I can make money. I can make situations better. But I need to make situations better now. Like, I need to worry about, like, okay, I'm no longer there. I'm at this job. How do I make this job better? Okay, just work my ass off. Just do what they say. Just do your job. Literally. You just do what's asked of you to do. You don't worry about what people think of you. You don't worry about what is going to happen. Everything just comes your way.
And I want to ask you something, because I'm also a firm believer that when you don't look for something, it kind of finds you. So you know how you were saying in your previous job, there was that anxiousness of everyone's approval. What's everyone going to think? Are they going to appreciate me if I work my butt off? If you're okay with it, I want you to share this.
Go for it.
At your current job, maybe about a month ago, you got a token of appreciation where they presented you with something. Mm-hmm. And once again, you weren't looking for it. You weren't like, okay, I'm going to deliberately do that. It was just, like you said, I'm doing my job, I'm making a living, I'm making my money, cool. But along the way, there came this perk of, hey, we want to take a second to appreciate you. Do you want to shed some light on that? Because I could tell you put this on social media, and I even texted you, I'm like, hey man, congrats, it's about time.
So it's 4 months into my job. I get shifted into a different part of our department. And at first I was like, damn, I'm not at the best part of the department. I'm at the worst part. Instead of like, what did I do to get here? Why am I here? Do I need to fix this? I stopped thinking about how to fix it and just thought, fine, I'm here. Let me just do this part of the job.
Yeah.
So essentially what that part of the job is it's just me getting the final part of someone's order ready and taking it out to them like, hey, here's what you ordered. Have a great day.
Yeah.
And that's all I thought. Like, just get their stuff, make them happy, talk to them, make them feel good. And apparently, because of focusing on just doing that,
Staying present.
yes, there was a meeting that our department usually has, even though I feel like we're already a month overdue. They're like, hey, this is how the department's doing this month. We're doing good. We're doing bad in these. Like, just typical stuff for work.
Yeah.
But we're also going to announce a couple MVPs. In my head, I'm like, all right, let's just get this over with. I got to come back here in another 2 hours for an 8-hour shift. Essentially being here for more than 12 hours.
Yeah.
When they called my name, I was really shocked. Everyone was clapping. Everyone was happy for me. I didn't think about, oh, this is what I was waiting for, their approval.
Yeah.
I needed this.
Yeah.
I just thought, why me? Why did I, what? And then they told me why I won the award, because apparently out of 200 plus employees at this job, I've received the most reviews. Like the average some of those employees get is 10. I exceeded it plus 60. And I wasn't even trying to do that. I was just literally doing my job. And they kept asking me, oh, what do you do? What did you do to get so many surveys? What did you do to get so many... I'm like, nothing. I just did my job. I'm like, no, you had to like bribe them. You had to like make up something to like convince them to do it. I'm like, no. I just told them, hey, if you get a chance, can you please write a positive survey? Let us know how your experience was. If you mention my name, it helps me out. That's literally all I do.
Yeah.
I don't butter anybody up. I don't like, oh, hey, yeah, no, how you doing? None of that. I just do what's asked of me.
Right.
And the reason why, after I finally like accepted it, it's because when I was at the job before this one, yeah, granted, it's only like 3, maybe 4 months. I didn't feel any of that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to feel the approval of the future.
Yeah.
When I was at my other job for 10 and a half years, in that span of time, 3 times in 10 and a half years, I got recognized for my hard work. But yet, in every meeting we had, when we did our breakoffs, oh yeah, he's the top seller. Oh yeah, he's the I think even in a few of those meetings, like when they would honor people, you saw me go up there because, oh yeah, he's the best of that department.
Yeah.
And obviously I'd walk up there like, no, I don't give a damn. Like, why the hell am I here? Like,
yeah.
This meant something else just because it's like I wasn't looking for it and I didn't think about it. I didn't ask for it. I didn't think, oh damn, they're gonna have an MVP. I have to be that guy. No, I didn't care for it.
I was gonna ask you, do you feel like it meant more because you weren't looking for it and it just it found its way over
I
to
think
you?
so,
Yeah.
because it also meant more because for once it came early in a job. Like my first time at our other job, it took 5 years to get recognized for my hard work. But I had busted my ass for those first 5 years. And there should have been, I personally thought at that place, I should have been recognized way before. Here, it just meant a lot because it's like, okay, I thank you. Like you were taking the time to appreciate me, but I'm still gonna go back to work.
Yeah.
I literally took it as like, thanks, I love this. I gotta go back to work now.
Maybe a push of motivation as well.
Yes. Yeah. But not motivation in the sense of like, oh, now I need to think about
outdoing myself.
Yes. No, I just thought I just need to keep working.
Yeah.
I just need to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we broke it down pretty well, past, present, future. Any closing remarks?
Depression, anxiety, peace.
Well, I mean, let me close off with how I usually close off. if again, full disclosure, nobody that's speaking here is a professionally trained psychologist, therapist, or shrink. Just very much real people going through real experiences. If you had one piece of advice for someone who maybe has depression, has anxiety, and is just trying to stay in the present, is trying to get a grip on their situation, what would you advise?
My advice would be, if you're depressed, stop and pause and think about why you're depressed. Like, write it down and find a way to fix it. Same thing with anxiety. If you're anxious about something coming up or what's gonna affect you for the future, stop, pause, write it down, but don't think about it. Just take that time to think of the past and the future. And then when you're done thinking about them, think about where you're currently at. Appreciate where you're at and remind yourself that there is still current things that are good in your life.
Present.
Take that time to enjoy the present, because, and this is the last part of that I have to say. So there's that quote, the future is a mystery, the past is history. Today is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
Yeah.
So always think of that, and just don't let your anxiety or your depression suck you into a place and keep you there. Because honestly, there's always a way out.
That's what I was going to mention, is that inevitably it's going to happen, but I've come to realize that take a second, be miserable, be anxious, be depressed, be what have you.
It's fine.
It's going to happen, but the important part is that once you feel that way, like, okay, I felt that way, pull yourself out of it, now let's go forward. Mm-hmm. Don't stay in that funk. And I think that there would be no better way to conclude the episode than to have you read that quote one more time.
So again, for those of you thinking of it, if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the moment.
Couldn't say it any better myself. Thank you so much for joining us, guys, and we will catch you all next time.